Karina baby. It is April the 14th. Happy April the 14th. I hope that your day was absolutely amazing. And today, from the 366, a year full of stories, 366 days of stories and rhymes. Okay. April the 14th. The Teeny Tiny Woman. Once upon a time there was a teeny tiny woman who lived all by herself in a teeny tiny house. One day the teeny tiny woman put her teeny tiny hat and went for a teeny tiny walk. On the way she came to a teeny tiny gate. The teeny tiny woman opened the teeny tiny gate and went into the teeny tiny churchyard. Now, in the teeny tiny churchyard, there was a teeny tiny bone. The teeny tiny woman saw the teeny tiny bone and said, "This teeny tiny bone will make some teeny tiny soup for my teeny tiny supper." So the teeny tiny woman popped the teeny tiny bone into her teeny tiny pocket and took it home to her teeny tiny house. By the time the teeny tiny woman got home, she was feeling a teeny tiny bit tired. She went upstairs to her teeny tiny bedroom and put the teeny tiny bone into a teeny tiny cupboard. Then the teeny tiny woman lay on her teeny tiny bed and fell asleep. The teeny tiny woman had been asleep for only a teeny tiny time. When she was awake by a teeny tiny voice from a teeny tiny cupboard, it said, "Give me my bone." The teeny tiny woman was a teeny tiny bit frightened, so she hid under her teeny tiny sheets and went to sleep again. And a teeny tiny time later, the teeny tiny voice cried from the teeny tiny cupboard, a teeny tiny bit louder, "Give me my bone." By this time, the teeny tiny woman was a teeny tiny bit more frightened. She put her teeny tiny pillow right over her teeny tiny ears and went to sleep again. But it was no good. In less than a teeny tiny while, that teeny tiny voice shouted from the teeny tiny cupboard, "Give me my bone." And because that teeny tiny woman was frightened out of her teeny tiny wits, she sat up in her teeny tiny bed and said in her louder, braver, teeny tiny voice, "Take it." And that's the end of this teeny tiny story. Aww. Look at the teeny tiny puppy. He's running away with the bone. I hope you enjoyed the storybook, my dear. Mama loves you, baby. Mama misses you. Let's do the Midsummer Banquet. Tales from Fern Hollow. Tales from Fern Hollow, the Midsummer Banquet. Fern Hollow. The Midsummer Banquet. In a few days it would be time for the Midsummer Banquet to be held at Trundleberry Manor in his attic. Lord Trundle was rambling around looking for the candle laver and punch bowl when he stored away after his previous year's celebration. "Now, where did I put them?" he muttered. "Perhaps they are in this chest." Opening the chest, he found amongst many other things an old engraving of medieval castle, Fern Hollow Castle. That's rather odd, muttered Lord Thunder. There is no castle in Fern Hollow these days. It must have fallen into ruins maybe years ago. But this gives me an idea. This year we will have a medieval midsummer banquet, and everyone can come in medieval costumes. How much fun would that be? Look at all the stuff he's finding. He has his little treasure chest right here. There's a teapot. There's a birdie up in the cage and a lantern. Look at the painting, baby. Look at the castle. That must have been the castle that they're talking about. Oh, look at the clothes. Lord Trundle lost no time in sending out the invitations, and soon everyone in the village was talking about the banquet. Mr. and Mrs. Timble, the Fern Hollow trailers, were kept extremely busy making the medieval costumes, and the lights in the windows burned light into the night. When at last the clothes were finished, the animals came to try them on. You would hardly have recognized Brock Comfrey, Mr. Bouncer, or Miss Willowbank in their costumes. They looked splendid. Look how splendid they looked. They looked absolutely beautiful, right? The morning before the banquet, Lord Trundle decided that he would visit Mr. Crocolaberry, who would be doing the catering. He was driving along in his car when the thick mist came down, unable to see where he was going, and still thinking that he was on the road. He drove down the narrow trail into the windy wood. After some time, the trail vanished, and Lord Trundle's car got stuck in the mud. Then the poor fox had to get out and straddle along on foot. Suddenly, the mist began to clear, and to his surprise, Lord Trundle found himself standing in front of Fern Hollow Castle. He didn't even think this place existed. Look, here's the castle, baby. Oh my, look at, there's bats. You love bats. Remember that bat book I used to read you all the time? Lord Trundle's footsteps echoed noisily, disturbing some bats, which fluttered around his head. He gave him quite a fright. At the top of the stairs was a heavy wooden door. He opened it and entered a dusty light room filled with suits of armor. And another interesting thing. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew in through the window and slammed the door shut. Lord Trundle tried to open it, but it was locked. He was trapped. Oh my, he got himself trapped. As soon as it was realized that Lord Trundle was missing, P.C. Hobbit organized a search party to find him. The clever policeman quickly deduced what had happened, and the search party followed the tracks of Lord Trundle's car into Windy Wood. When the last they arrived at the castle, they found the fox waving from the castle window and shouting for help. Look at, they're doing a good job trying to find him, huh? See? Oh my. The search party had come well equipped, and a strong rope was quickly thrown up to Lord Trundle. Tie the end of it to the door, instructed P.C. Hobbit. Then climb down. The Lord Trundle was not accustomed to climbing down ropes, but with the encouragement of his friends, he managed to lower himself safely down to the ground. When he had recovered from his ordeal, he announced that he had had a brilliant idea. Let's hold the Midsummer Banquet here in the castle, he said. It's the perfect place for it. A great deal of work was put into the preparations for the banquet. Lots of fairy lights were hung in the trees around the castle, and Mr. Champs made an enormous wood table. He began big enough for all the animals to sit around. On the night of the banquet, everyone turned up in their medieval costumes, carrying lanterns. There was even medieval music supplied by Sigmund Swamp, who played the lute and sang a few little songs which he had written. Finally, an enormous bonfire was lit, and there was a wonderful firework display with rockets flying up into the night sky and bursting into flowers and colorful sparks above the ruins of the castle. It was a really wonderful evening, one which Firm Hollow's animals who remembered for a long, long time. Look at this event. They had so much fun that they remembered it for a very long time. In the end, there's Firm Hollow. There's the manor and the fire station. That's the manor. The fire station. Where's this castle at? Very cute. Karina, baby, Mama loves you so very much. Mama will always love you. I hope that you're having a beautiful night tonight, and I'm going to read you more books. Alright? I'm just going to stop this one here. Mama loves you, loves you, loves you. I will always love you no matter what anyone says to you, baby. Mama will always love you.